based on proportions. This is alien to the House. It has never been practiced from our Fourth Republic, from the first Parliament, the second Parliament, the third Parliament, up to the ninth Parliament. We have never set proportions in this House as basis for debate, Mr. Speaker. So when the majority leader was saying that they even took a decision in terms of voting, that is actually not the procedure. He is a senior man of this House, and he knows. Even the 7th Parliament, when the MPP had a majority of 169 and the NDC was 106, we never used proportion in terms of debate. It has never happened. So why is it that at the moment we are going to say that to debate on the state of the nation, you are going to use a proportion and you brought your own proportion? Mr. Speaker, in any case, what are you afraid of? If 5 of you speak and 5 from this side speak, what are you afraid of? Because you believe that the message that the president presented is the state of the nation. So, Mr. Speaker, with all due respect to the leader of the House, I think this part of the business statement should be expunged from the record because it's alien to the rules. And if you come and look our standing orders, if you check Order 115, it tells you Order 115, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I'll just read Order 115, where it talks about time and manner of speaking. Order 115 says that, subject to the discretion of the Speaker on Order 1693B, a member who intends to speak shall rise in the member's place and address the chair while standing only at the catching the eye of the Speaker. There is nowhere in our standing orders which will tell you that you should use proportions when you are going to speak on the floor of the House. And we should not entertain this because we will be setting a very bad precedent. We'll be setting a bad precedent. And we on this side, we will not be part of this. We will not be part of it, and we will not entertain this because it has never happened. And we will not allow you to set a wrong precedent to us. So it's wrong, and Mr. Speaker, we will definitely not be in agreement with any proportion. If we are to debate on the message of the state of the nation, if 5 on this side is speaking, 5 on the other side will speak, there is nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to say you are going to use proportion. We will all speak and we will all debate the message the president speaks, but we will not use any proportion to be able to do that. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I think we all came to Parliament for the same purpose, both majority and minority members. We in the majority have observed that there's one function in Parliament that most of us are not getting the opportunity to play. That is to deliberate in this House. Whether it was a previous practice or something we are introducing, we have to look at the merit. If you are going to do a proportional participation in this Parliament, it would disadvantage some of us in the majority. Simple, yes. But our duty, no, listen, Mr. Speaker, our duty here is for all of us to comment, and participate in every activity, any deliberation in this House. All of us are supposed to contribute, whether you are majority or minority. We shouldn't use partisanship to limit anybody from participating on the floor of Parliament. We shouldn't use it. It's because any statement you make in this House, I have the equal right with anybody there to participate. So if you are using partisanship to allow participation, it will disadvantage anybody who is in the majority side. For example, let's consider that one day the minority are only 10 members. Let's consider it. Tomorrow, the minority, you are only 10 members. How are the rest going to participate on the floor of the House? For instance, you know we are assessed as members of Parliament to get our chance to return. There are NGOs assessing our participation in Parliament. There are NGOs that will come with who are those who are speaking on the floor and who are those who are not speaking. I want to speak, but you are saying my party have 2 chances to speak. The other party has 2 chances to speak. Meanwhile, our number here is twice your number.
Yes.
You would have 10 times the opportunity to participate.
Yes.
But my party, even if they are allowing everybody to speak, I will only have 1 chance to speak. So when they are assessing parliamentarians, I'll be poorly assessed. But it is because of that. Just like your members have the right to comment on the President's State of the Nation address, I also have the chance, I also have the privilege and the right to participate.
Thank you,
so we are going to do it
thank you.
proportional in every debate. In every debate, it must be 4:1.
Thank you very much.
We must not have equal opportunities as parties.
Thank you.
We must have equal opportunities as representatives of our people.
Thank you.
And that is the way we must participate in this house.
Honorable member, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think we are by this going to introduce some unfairness and a novelty unknown to the practice of this House. Mr. Speaker, it's very important. The NPP has had 169 members of parliament before. We've never on any occasion advocated for this. In any event, Mr. Speaker, if you look at...
Honorable members, please, let's listen to him. I'll also give you the floor to also speak. Please, let's hear him. Other than that, we wouldn't hear anything.
Mr. Speaker, what are we running away from? Paragraph 5 of the business statement is just a debate on the President's address to the House to thank him. Why are we rationing members of Parliament and deciding on the number of people to speak? What are we running away from? Debate? Majority running away from debate? Come on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Speaker of Parliament chairs the Committee on Selection. Committee on Selection only uses ratio in the apportioning of members on committees. That's all. This is a chamber for debate. This is the chamber for debate. And for the majority to go to a business committee meeting to propose this is unfair. It's alien to the House. We've never seen this before. And it must not be entertained, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Ted Abi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think that if we allow this to go, it will disadvantage the majority seriously, because, Mr. Speaker, it is not for nothing that our standing orders gives equity to members on committees. Why? Yes. It is because of equity insofar as participation is concerned. What it means is that if we allot 2 hours for debate, what it means is that 183 or 187 will have 1 hour divided by 183. And then 80 divided by whatever. But what are you talking about? Mr. Speaker, it will be unfair. And seriously, it doesn't give equal opportunity. And as my other colleague said, others are looking at people who speak. They are assessing members of parliament based on the opportunity to talk. So if the probability is higher on your side, what is going to happen is that they will think that our people, and Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that the former Minister of Information had the guts to go and say that members from our side are not speaking because, Mr. Speaker, that is the reason. That is the reason, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that for the sake of equity, we need to go by the proportion so that everybody would have opportunity to speak, be it on at the committee or on the floor of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I think it's just fair. It is just fair. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have 2 points to make. One on this proposal for proportionality, and then one on something else which I believe should be programmed in the business statement for next week. First, Mr. Speaker, is this question of proportionality. For the purposes of debate, that is why next week we have an opportunity, I think about 4 days or 5 days or so, to debate. What is a debate? To exchange contrasting views on what His Excellency the President has presented. Is there anybody on the majority side who is going to say he disagrees with the President? No. What is going to happen, Mr. Speaker, is that in this debate, the contrasting views that you will get from this side. And that is why the convention has been over the years, from the first parliament, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, that when one person speaks on the other side, ostensibly to repeat what the President has said, you will get a contrasting view from another person from this side. So, Mr. Speaker, we should not fall for this temptation that we are now coming to do some proportional representation when it comes to the debate on the state of the nation. The convention has always been that one from this side, one from this side. To our brother at the back who is laboring to answer the question, what formula should be used? The standing orders have prescribed the formula that should be used, Order 1151. It doesn't lie in the mouth of any caucus to make a determination on numbers. Actually, the rules say that it is the Speaker who examines the chamber and selects who should be speaking. And the convention has been that you catch the Speaker's eye and the Speaker selects one from this side, one from this side. So, Mr. Speaker, we should not get into this new proposal that is being given us, that we should now select 2 or 3 from one side before we select. We will not hear any contrasting views if we go that way. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the business statement for the week ahead of us, you would imagine that any other matter that is a precursor to the budget, leader, should be executed next week before the budget is brought. There are about 3 policy documents that the government benches have advertised to the whole country, which are relevant to the budget. If you look at your manifesto, I have a copy here. You have what you call the Economic Recovery Program, you have the Economic Transformation Agenda, and then you have your 24-hour economy policy. Mr. Speaker, the budget that we are going to receive on the 11th is based on these documents. None of these documents has been brought to this House. In previous times, documents like the Ghana Beyond Aid policy, etc., they will be brought to this House. I think that what the government benches should consider, including in this business statement, is bringing to this House the 24-hour economy policy, the Economic Recovery Program, and the Economic Transformation Agenda, so that Parliament can have an opportunity to see it, make input into it, query it, before the budget itself is brought. And I want to urge on the leader of government business that they should consider including this before the budget itself is brought. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, Order 216 of our standing orders clearly has given the mandate to the Business Committee to determine the order in which business is conducted in this House. Under the same order, the time allotted for debate is also determined by the same Business Committee. Parliament is a house of representation. We are representing our individual constituencies. And so when it comes to deliberations in the House, it is important that time allotted and opportunities given reflects the manner of representation. That is why the framers of the Constitution, in their own wisdom, decided that in determining composition of committees, which is critical to the performance of our duties as a legislative body, it is determined by representation in the House. That is why the ratio is used. So it is only proper that we have this determination done in such a way that because we have the majority and the numbers are so huge that we are more than twice the number of the minority in the debate of the state of the nation. the majority be given more time or more slots than the minority. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to this debate. Mr. Speaker, the leader of this House, the distinguished Member of Parliament for Boku Central, is a man who is well versed with the standing orders of this House. And Mr. Speaker, when he spoke, ordinarily he would have made reference to the part of the standing orders that gives the business committee the powers to allocate the number of people who will be contributing to the debates. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and other extant laws of the Republic do not also give any such powers to any committee like that. Mr. Speaker, the closest we have is Order 216, which has been made reference to by my very good friend, Adam, Honorable Adam. Now, that order is short of also making a pronouncement as to the number of people who will be debating from each side of the aisle. Mr. Speaker, this is not the first parliament of this republic. We have heard this is the 9th parliament. And Mr. Speaker, I make specific reference to the 2nd parliament of this republic, 1996, where the NDC had 132 seats, the NPP 66, and I believe there were 2 independent, members. I stand corrected, Mr. Speaker. Even under those circumstances, there were no such proportional representation as far as debates are concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, it's very strange that the president has delivered his message on the state of the nation on behalf of the majority or Ghanaians generally. And Mr. Speaker, that is a statement which they all believe and imbibe in. We disagree to some extent to some of the things that the president has said. And so we deserve every opportunity to impeach what the president has said. And we should be able to do so. We should be given enough room. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, ordinarily, the proportion should even favor the minority than the majority. This is not committee. This is not some international representation or trips abroad. This is debate. It is not the number of people who debate, but the quality of the debates. So, Mr. Speaker, I can challenge you. We can debate you on any day. Even if you make it 10-1, we'll beat you on the debate floor. Mr. Speaker, in this hallowed chamber, we are ready for you, but we are not ready for you to trample upon our rights. We will debate with you as has been done previously, and we will do so equitably, and we will do so in accordance with our standing orders and the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable James Agaga.
Mr. Speaker, the arguments made by our colleagues from the other side suggests that when the motion is moved, all those who rise and catch Mr. Speaker's eye from this side of the House will necessarily speak in favor of the motion. Mr. Speaker, this is an erroneous assumption. In fact, it is a presumption which is rebuttable. We are in a democracy. Mr. Speaker, we are in a democracy.
Is it rebuttable, under Ghanaian circumstances?
The assumption, it is rebuttable.
If it is Europe,
It is
America, I can see
Speaker.
that. But in Ghana's circumstance, is it rebuttable? Honorable James.
Mr. Speaker.
I'm saying under Ghanaian circumstance, the way we see our discussion,
Mr. Speaker,
is it rebuttable?
Mr. Speaker, without attempting to draw you into the debate, I can say you are a classical example of the rebuttal of that presumption. You came close to rebutting the presumption some time ago when you stood firm and bold in taking certain decisions. At the end of the day, Mr. Speaker was hailed by all for being courageous. Mr. Speaker, we must encourage members to take dissenting views, hold dissenting views and express them, regardless of which side of the aisle you belong to. It should be possible for my good friend, Honorable Tampule, to speak in favor of the motion which would be moved on Tuesday. In the same measure, it should be possible for my leader, Roxanne Nelson Dafia Moko, to speak against the motion. So, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, let us be guided by what the standing order says, and it is very clear.
What does it say?
Standing Order 2162 says, and with your kind permission, let me read. Subject to Order 67, the committee shall A, propose the business of each sitting and the order in which the business is taken. That's all, it's clear. Now, the business committee, Mr. Speaker, the business committee has clearly determined the order upon which the debate on the motion will be taken. The committee's determination is that we go by the proportion of 68:32, and this is representative of the numbers in this House. Mr. Speaker, the fact that one side won by an overwhelming majority does not mean that our majority status should work to our disadvantage, which is why we are saying let us adopt a proportion which reflects the numbers in the House so that members would have the opportunity to participate in the debate regardless of which side of the House what they belong to. The fact that I belong to the majority does not mean that I should be limited or restrained because I was voted for by the overwhelming majority of the people and I sit to the right hand of Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, let's do the right thing. Democracy is about majoritarian rule. The majority must have every opportunity to participate effectively in this debate. Mr. Speaker, given the numbers on this side of the House, if you limit us, you would be denying 184 constituencies equal opportunity to be heard. Why would 88 members of the House have equal opportunity to speak? Equal opportunity, 50-50. This would be unfair. It will be unfair and unequitable. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we should go by what the committee has determined for us and do justice.
Yes, Honorable Seminamua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the same standing order 216 2A. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I read. Propose the business of each sitting and the order in which the business is taken, except that the House may determine which matters may properly be introduced in the House at any time. Mr. Speaker, I think this extract is so clear without any ambiguity. Unless somebody wants to undermine the very law that has conferred on us the power that we want to abuse in this House. It is so clear that the business committee, they will make the proposal or the propositions, but it is the House that will determine which matter should be actually dealt with and the adverb properly. So it doesn't lie within the jurisdiction of the business committee to impose on us anything which is unlawful. I think we've come too far to accept any imposition of one party's interest. We are here, at least understand that the Constitution, the standing orders or conventions are the very tools that actually guide us in this house. Looking at 1996, we had different numbers in terms of ratios, and we could not use that as a yardstick to make the decisions, Mr. Speaker, they want to make today. I'm advising my brothers from the other side that we want to live in peace. We want to adhere to the democratic principles that have brought us this far, and that has earned Ghana the reputation we have on the continent of Africa. If they think they want to abuse their number and by doing that impose on us their interest, we will not allow that. We will resist any form of imposition, any form of intimidation, any form of threat that will undermine the very democracy and the Constitution that is leading us. So, Mr. Speaker, all that I'm saying is that we will not sit down and allow anything that will be done in law. They say mela fide, in bad faith. I think the good people of this country voted for us to position ourselves in a way that they will learn from us. The students were here, the media, they are here. Now, because of your numbers, are we practicing autocracy or democracy? Are we practicing military rule or we are practicing democracy? Please, respectfully, we want to work together in harmony. We want to harmonize the interests of every Ghanaian. Equality, as the Constitution says, Article 17, must be respected. We cannot decide anyhow because we have power. We cannot decide anyhow because we think we are yielding power that Ghanaians have given us to distort and destroy the beautiful democracy we have. Don't let anybody think our numbers, they'll intimidate us. Don't let anybody think because we have these small numbers, they'll behave in a way that we will succumb to their threat. We will not be controlled by cowardice. Mr. Speaker, I will end by this. The very Bible that we read, God has assured us and given us. God did not create us with the spirit of timidity nor fear, but that of boldness and courage. Do not be afraid, my people. Do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you. And we will stand on the authority of God and the democracy and the Constitution and the standing orders and live up to expectation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, please. If I continue to listen to almost everybody who speak to it, and it appears the same thing. Anybody who speaks from the right will speak to the same point, and as well as my group from the left will also speak to the same point. So let me listen to leadership, and I'll have my own conclusion about it. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this morning, because I had some other engagement outside of the precincts of Parliament, the Chief Whip on our side stood in for the caucus at the usual business committee meeting. He has fully briefed me of what transpired. Well, regrettably, the majority leader did not give me a heads up on the intention of the majority on this very matter. But that is to be expected. We are in a political enterprise. Sometimes it is normal to hide some of your cards. So, though it's a surprise, but it's normal to me. It's okay. Mr. Speaker, let me make some few references, and I will leave the matter to our good conscience, to posterity, and for all to think through. Mr. Speaker, when I was a majority leader, and at a point close to elections, and after elections were to take some decisions in this House. The minority then resisted, and through the resistance, they referred me to the Hansard of 2016 after the election, where my predecessor, the respected Chairman Sabonsu, had made some strong arguments about the transition and the fact that they had lost elections, certain decisions were to be placed on ice. And they were fortified by that to say that government business could not continue. I've listened to the forceful argument by Honorable Edem Agbana. I've also heard my own friend, the Honorable James Agaga, talking about the majoritarian rule. Fortunately, everything said today will be part of the Hansard of this House. The practice, as I've known it to be, is that in this House, although we come here, majority, minority, when it comes to debates, there is equal share. Since 1997, when the first opposition party was in this House, we had a 61 plus 6 smaller parties making the minority 67, with overwhelming majority being the NDC with 133. The Speaker, D.F. Annan of blessed memory, the records would bear me out, that in all debates, you pick one from the right, you pick one from the left. The practice continued under Alajete, and then eventually under Okwe, where the NPP had overwhelming numbers in this House. The very first in the history of our politics, NPP had 169. Mr. Speaker, the practice did not change. With 169, the debate was still shared equally. And I do recall that even committee sittings, committee sharing, some consensus was built and some concessions had to be made by the majority to accommodate some more numbers for the minority. Mr. Speaker, delegation to sub-regional parliament and all, we all had some understanding of the way to go. Well, I am not going to challenge the majority on this. I will not. Because as Ngugi wa Thiong'o wrote in Weep Not Child, weep not child, weep not my darling. With these cases, let me remove your tears. The ravening clouds shall not long be victorious, they shall not long possess the skies. If today you are of the view that in this debating chamber, they should call 7 of you and call only 3 because you have the rule, I will not debate or let us break shoulders over this matter, because I know that in as long as there is life, even if I am dead and gone, and this democracy that we have all established is in force, the NPP will someday come into power. Be it 4 years, 8 years, 50 years, 100 years. NPP will someday come.
And the records of this house, will be the guiding rule. So, Mr. Speaker, I would strongly urge upon the majority leader that some of these new precedents that they are introducing, they must be measured in the way they are introducing these precedents. Because we are watching, we are taking notes, and a day may come that references will be made. I have tasted that bitter pill when you referred me to some of the actions of the then opposition leader in this house in 2016. And you said that is the basis for you even preventing Supreme Court nominees from being considered on the House floor. To the extent that the minority chief whip, as he then was, Honorable Kwame Govins Agboja, threatened that should I make an attempt to lay the report, there will be chaos. We retreated. We listened to them. We said it's okay. After all, in a democracy, you can't get everything. So we'll let it go. Mr. Speaker, without more, I will take my seat and leave the matter to you.
Thank you. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened carefully to colleagues in the chamber, and I think, in a sense, there's been an attempt to question the mandate of the Business Committee to engage in a determination that the time allotted for debate should be proportional to our numbers in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, let's look at Order 216-2B. Order 216-2B. 216-2B says that, subject to Order 67, the committee shall recommend the time allotted for debate on bills. The time allotted for debates on bills, motions, private members' bills, private members' motions, and other business. Here we are discussing a motion to thank the President for coming to this House to deliver a message on the state of the nation. So it is part of the mandate of the Business Committee to recommend the allotment of time. Mr. Speaker, let's break it down to what is in issue. What is in issue is that the Business Committee proposed that we have 5 slots, 10 slots per day, and the 10 slots and the debate will last 4 days. So in effect, Mr. Speaker, we are looking at 40 slots in all for the debate. Okay? 40 slots in all for the debate. And we have allotted the specific time that each speaker may speak. The allotment to leadership, the allotment to chairs, and the allotment to ordinary members. Mr. Speaker, according to what my friends on the other side are proposing, we should allot 20 slots and the time allocated for those slots to their side, and also allot 20 slots and the time allocated for those 20 slots to our side. Mr. Speaker, what that means is that their side, with 88 members, will individually have a higher allocation of allotted time than this side that has 188 members. So, Mr. Speaker, what we are saying is that it is inequitable to have 188 members who constitute 68% of the House, take 20 slots, and then you have 88 who are 32% of the House also taking 20 slots. It's just inequitable. It is inequitable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what that means is that members of this side get more opportunity, more airtime, more opportunity than members on this side. Mr. Speaker, like an ordinary member, a member indicated earlier on, because of this, the public watching us often come to a conclusion that we with 188 members are being overshadowed by those who are only 88. And that is because the allocation of time. Because if you give them 88 people 20 hours and give 188 people 20 hours, definitely the 88 people with 20 hours will end up outshining the 188. So it is only fair that we allot the time on the basis of our numbers in the chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, it is only equitable. I have also heard colleagues try to argue that Order 115 governs the allocation of time or the determination of who speaks. Mr. Speaker, let's read Order 115. Order 115, and with your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, I read. It says that subject to the discretion of the Speaker and Order 1693B, a member who intends to speak shall rise in the member's place and address the chair while standing only and catching the eye of the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this has nothing to do with the allotment of time. This has nothing to do with the allotment of the number of speakers determined for each side. Mr. Speaker, it has always been the practice of this House that we conclude by saying that whatever it is, let's be fair. We have a lot of new members on this side, and we also have new members on this side. When we restrict the allocations the way that you are proposing, what it will happen invariably is that it means that a member on your side gets 2 opportunities when a member on this side gets only 1. And that's not fair. That's not fair. A member on your side gets 2 opportunities when a member on this side gets only 1 opportunity. That's not fair. Mr. Speaker, let me get to the subject matter. A debate on the state of the nation presented by the President. There are 2 sides. There's a side that will be seeking to disprove what the President has said, and there's a side that will be seeking to confirm what the President has said. Mr. Speaker, let me indicate that we on this side stand by our position that when it comes to government business and we are allotting time, let's allot it equitably so that we have, based on our numbers, a greater allocation of time than your side. And that is why during the committee meeting, we had our disagreements and when according to the procedure spelled out in our standing orders, we put it to a vote. And 7 votes in favor of that proposed allocation of time, and then 4 on your side decided not to participate in the vote and asked that the record should indicate that they protested and they disagreed with the decision. But 7 of us voted in favor of the position that we have 68% of the time and that you have 32% of the time, reflecting the different sizes of the parties in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, like you said, it is not the amount of time, it is the quality of the debate. If you believe that it is the quality of the debate, then why are you worried about how much time we are taking? Why are you worried about how much time we are taking? We are worried about time. You say you are more interested in the quality. So within your short time frame, make sure that your debate is highly qualitative and leave us to decide what we do with our time. So, Mr. Speaker, that was the position that was taken. But I forgot to add one thing because those who wrote the report omitted it, and members of the committee will confirm that. We also decided at the committee meeting that next week, Wednesday, we will invite the governor of the Bank of Ghana as an independent constitutional body to come to this house and brief us on the pricing of the new Bank of Ghana head office building, how the price variations took place, what the quantities were, and the justification for the construction of the new Bank of Ghana headquarters. And so this is programmed for next week, that this house is inviting the governor of the Bank of Ghana to come and brief us on the pricing of the Bank of Ghana head office building. And so I urge members on Wednesday to show up so that we will hear from the governor on the pricing of the Bank of Ghana head office. I also take on board the proposal that we should consider having the relevant sector ministers to present policy proposals on major policies that this government has pronounced. I think that it would be a good idea for the relevant sector ministers to come and present the policy documents to us, but the issue is timing, whether it should be before the budget or it should be after the budget. I will convey the message to them. It's a good proposal. I will convey the message to them and see whether they are prepared to come before us with those policy documents before the finance minister appears, or they will incorporate it in the budget so that the finance minister will make those policy pronouncements and then proceed to present a budgetary allocation to implement those policies. The